project minded in a much colder season. Last time I introduced you to the vehicles I have, in which I refer to as the fleet, which is probably pretty indicative of me having a problem, but it gives me something to do. So according with that hobby, I'm going to maybe show you around my workspace, which is an absolute mess, which is a good frame for getting set up for the next little project that I've got, which is house related, as well as show the next couple of steps that are probably going to end up on a video coming up soon. So let's take a look. Previous owner of this place had it set up for backhoes and bulldozers and that sort of thing, which is why the ceiling height is so high, which isn't something that I'm going to use, but I mean, as far as a hobby structure goes, this is amazing. So starting in the one corner, and we'll work our way around. I've got the storage corner with the loft, which holds a whole bunch of scraps and bits and odds and ends, which we'll cover off in later projects. In the corner right now, I've got my S10 project that I showed you earlier, with the lift that's to be installed soon, the boat that got hung up for a lumber shortage, but we're going to cover that off when we get back into it. As well as the little tractor and the doggo just hanging out. Now with that in mind, there's a little side project I'm going to get out of the way, and that's going to be setting up the new piece of plate I have for a welding table. So we're going to get that all set up so I can actually make my projects kind of somewhat square. Underneath that is a set of 3-inch pipe. That is going to be used for some driveway lighting, which is what we're going to get into next. A little quick overview. The tooling that we're going to use we'll cover off as we go. This is a 5/16 piece of plate. It measures 5'8" by 4 foot. It's a pretty big size with a good amount of overhang on the structure underneath, which I'll throw a picture up for it. It's pretty solid. I mean, in the sense that I don't think it's going to have a tipping issue once it's all centered. I'm going to tack it in place and kind of work with the size as it is. There's about a foot overhang side to side, and about like a little over 6 inches on either end, which will be plenty to mount a vise to, as well as like do some clearance work and that sort of thing, be able to get tooling from underneath if I need to. So we'll see how I like it. If I do need to cut it down, I can lop a kind of foot-sized chunk, maybe a little bit more, and then use a chunk of this plate on one of the back work benches so I have something solid to work on instead of lumber. But this is a big step forward into making my stuff a little bit more square and a little bit more together. The frame itself was here for the previous owner. It's booger welded angle iron and stuff, and I thought about remaking the base, but quite frankly, it is what it is. It's strong enough for what I need, and if I need to redo it down the road, I can do it in square tube. It's just, it's not worth the effort. It's there, it's already assembled, so may as well just move forward with this so I can get on to the next thing. Anyway, so we're going to work on squaring it, and then we'll clean it up and get to using it. Table all measured and marked up. I just made it so it's going to be equal spacing on either side and either end. And then marked it out with some squares to find the corners of what I want the spacing to be, and then we'll just sort of eyeball it underneath. Making it square is just going to make it easier to move around the shop because it's not going to be cockeyed when I'm pushing the tabletop and staring at the tabletop. So there's no need to be micrometer accurate with it, but I still want it to be reasonably good. Once we're done that, I'm going to probably bolt a power bar to the table frame, just to have it so when I'm running grinders, sanders, that sort of thing, it's easy to just leave them plugged in and available to me on the work surface, and then whenever it's time to get going on a tool, just grab it and go. And then use that storage underneath just to hold on to it, to make more utility out of it. After that, we'll probably locate and drill and mount the vise with some bolts, I'm going to do that ahead of prepping the surface so that once I drill all the holes out, I can get rid of that slag or chips or burrs or whatever the hell's produced by drilling the holes. Then we'll prep the surface, do a light oil just to make sure it stays good, and after that, just get to using it. So yeah, everything's marked up now. We're going to locate it, tack it in place, power bar, vise, clean, and that'll be hopefully it. Here we go. Alright, it's all marked up and centered on the table like we wanted it to. The next piece is just going to be wire wheeling the points where the tack welds are going to go in to fix it to the table frame. Should hold it. Let's see. Lifts the frame, so I'm going to say that's good enough. Now we get to grinding. Now we're on to the final step. I'm going to wipe it down with acetone, get some of the grease chalk and God knows what else off this now that we've cleaned the surface. And then it's going to be a quick bomb of WD-40 top and bottom just to provide some protection. When it's time to weld or if I need to tack, it's just an easy wipe to get the oil off with the same stuff. So here we go, finish it up. So I forgot something. Oh well, we'll just have to clean that bit up again. So, I mark out where it goes and then bolt it in. Alright, as I just quickly zip this up, the next thing is just the WD-40 coat, and then we'll have a functional welding table for a long time to come. And that's nice and sturdy. The wiggle's actually coming from the wheels on the table, which, I mean, it's just what we're going to have to deal with. If I do have to work on something and it starts to move around, I can just chalk them. It's just going to be the way it is, rather than a fixed set, which doesn't really work for me. So this will be just fine. Now we're going to get the tooling out of the way. Spray bomb this on the bottom side, and just to help it keep, and then do the top side just the same. Now we've got something that we can use for years and years to come. With it just tack welded on, it's easy to modify if we needed to. This is going to really help things stay square and true to each other, as well as give me an opportunity for more complex stuff down the road to jig it in place. This little welding table, well, it had the frame kicking around from an old wood workbench that was here when I moved in, and I pared it down. The bottom component wouldn't be that complex. It's something that I do in a similar process to me making the welding part. So this will help me with projects moving forward, and the next things are going to be putting in the light post for the house, and there's going to be some welding involved in that. Don't think it's going to benefit too much from the welding table, short of just, you know, the large working surface and the vise, just because of the nature of the project. But every little bit helps. Keep inventing, keep doing, keep welding, grinding, woodworking, doing what you do, and learn as you go.